All right, welcome to episode 2 of Sports, Stonks, and Gambling. Better late than never, but never late is better. I'm your host, Adam. Go ahead and introduce yourselves.
My name's Chase. I am the mental elite of the group.
And I'm fun. I'm just a degenerate gambler. Live, laugh, love. That
Live,
John.
laugh, live, laugh, love. That describes Stefan pretty well. So I want to go ahead. Recording is right after the Nuggets game finished up. And I have a lot of thoughts, but Stefan, do you have anything you want to talk about real quick before I kind of just vent for a little bit, honestly?
Honestly, we looked atrocious besides our two-star players, and that was about it. MPJ couldn't hit a three to save his life. Neither could Michael Green. And yeah, I don't know what else to tell you. Our entire bench mob is hurt, so it doesn't really help.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Do you have anything, Chase? Because I'm definitely going to take up a couple minutes.
I was just gonna say, pretty impressive night still by Jokic, hitting his entire game over in the first half. And before you absolutely eviscerate this team, I think it's important to acknowledge that the only game we thought that they probably wouldn't win last week was pretty much the only game other than the Cavs game that they won. And so, beating the Lakers is a big deal. We're still 15-12. We're in a playoff spot. The sky is not falling, even though tonight was definitely a letdown.
Well, I
Right.
mean, honestly, the big problem for us tonight was having all our players out, but it
Right.
happens.
I'll go through the injury report real quick. So we've had Greg Whittington out all season. Will Barton's out for personal reasons, whatever. Paul Millsap's out tonight. Gary Harris has been out for the past couple games. PJ Dozier's been out for the past couple days. And Monte Morris was out tonight. So we're missing, 5 good rotation pieces. Monte Morris has been probably like our third or fourth best player this entire season. He's been so dependable. Whenever if it's not Murray, it's always Monte. But yeah, there are definitely some bright spots though, especially over the past week. We just got done with a 3-game win streak, so let's remember that. But I've been really impressed with both Zeke Naji and RJ. RJ is looking like he can be a much better version of Gary Harris. The guy plays hard every single night. He's a good defender. He's an all right shooter, and he is, for a guard, an amazing rebounder. He's had multiple games with 9 rebounds and then 4 and then 5 rebounds every game, especially considering his limited minutes. Pretty stellar work by him on the boards. And then Zeke Naji has been guarding the other team's best player. Sunday night, he was guarding LeBron. He did a good job. He wasn't going to stop him. But especially for a rookie, a late round draft pick, he looks like an absolute. Well, tonight he was guarding both Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. He isn't able to lock those guys down, but he could be our best defender, which is sad and points to some other problems, including what the hell is going on with Michael Porter Jr. He cannot make a basket to save his freaking life. And he just keeps
he's
shooting.
in a horrible shooting slump right now.
And he won't stop
I don't know what
shooting
else to
too.
tell you.
All he
Yeah.
brings to the team is shooting and above average rebounding. So if his shot isn't falling, he's just a black hole of possessions. Tonight, they closed the game with Zeke Naji on the court instead of him. I'm kind of thinking that, when people were floating all these trades for MPJ and 2 firsts for Drew Holiday, maybe we should have done it. What do you think, Stefan?
Nah, I wouldn't go that far yet. He's just having, he's in a shooting slump. It happens to every player. They'll come back. They always rally. It'll be fine.
Right.
Looking at his stats tonight, he's 9 of his last 44 from 3. So he's making maybe 1 out of 4.
20%. Yeah, 20% of his threes.
And then,
not great.
And then him and JaMychal tonight also shot 1 of 15 from the floor. So.
Yeah, that was pretty bad. It's just, if his shot isn't falling, what does he provide for this team? That's kind of my perspective, he's not a good defender. I don't know if he'll ever be a good defender. He's kind of a black hole on offense. He really likes to shoot the ball. It does that kind of works for him and doesn't work for him. To have the gravity that we kind of need him to have, people need to know that he's crazy enough to shoot some of these shots. But when it's not falling, it just looks dumb, slows down the offense. And then you gave some props. Jokic deserves all the props in the world, over 40 points, a beast as usual. But Jamal had 9 turnovers tonight. I don't think we can just sweep that under the rug.
Yeah, he did. But a few of them look like fouls. I'm not gonna lie. Maybe it's just because I'm biased, but you know.
Yeah, I was listening to the radio show on the drive home from work. They were going in on the refs. They were going through all of their. There was one of them who was like, guess how many playoff games this guy has ref? I was like, 1. It was like, oh, that says all you need to say. 27 years of being a ref in the NBA, he's only ever refed 1 playoff game. But yeah, it started out tough, but I think that the Nuggets definitely lost this game and not the refs. But
you know who's looking great there? Facu Campazzo, the man.
Campazzo. I was taking some notes during the game. I got Campazzo, and then like no homo, but I have a little heart next to his name. He was playing amazing. He's such a pest. Like he's like my size, like swole. And he's also out there he's not like shutting people down, but he's just pissing them off every single possession. There's nothing easy. Yeah,
and honestly, the effort is my favorite part about watching him. Like I don't know if you saw the ball about to go out of bounds because Jamal Murray decided to just huck it down the court, and he's absolutely just diving for the ball, all 5'5" or whatever he is, absolutely selling out every play, and you got to respect it.
He's probably one of our best offseason pickups. I mean, for the value out of Najee and Arjun both being picked in the 20s, those are great. But especially with Jermichael Green cooling down, I think that he was our best pickup of the offseason. Coming off a big win over the Lakers, people may try and discredit it just because AD went out. We looked like we had that game in hand, pretty much wire to wire. But all right, we can move on to, I guess we have to review the Super Bowl, even though I personally didn't give a crap who won. Probably the biggest piece of news coming out of the Super Bowl was that, the mental elite here just guaranteed that the Gatorade was going to be red, and it was not. Did either of you guys place any bets on Gatorade being?
I ultimately did not end up placing that bet just because I'm no longer using the offshore sites. But frankly, I am appalled and shocked that they couldn't just do that for the fans. So I like to think if the Chiefs had won, it would have been some red Gatorade, but blue is just unacceptable in my mind. A tough loss, tough beat on that one.
I agree. That's kind of crap. But I guess we could talk about the game a little bit. The Buccaneers just kicked the crap out of the Chiefs. It honestly wasn't a great game to watch. It was impressive to see some of the throws that Mahomes was still making while he was getting beaten down. Man had so much grass in his face mask. I felt bad, but whatever. That's what Kermit the Frog gets you. What do you think, Stefan?
Honestly, dude, Brady proven once again he's the greatest to ever do it. Like, I don't know what else to tell you, Man's out here. He's like 40, throwing bombs down the field, making plays, doing everything he can.
42, man. Get your numbers right, bro.
Well, I said he's in his 40s, or did I say he was 40? Either way, he's old, but man's still doing it. Like, I don't know. The best thing come out of the Super Bowl though is definitely the after parade on the lake. Tom Brady just throws the Lombardi Trophy and gets no fucks.
Oh my God, man! What if that thing had dropped in that river? God,
and then
that would have been a great story though.
Stumbling out of off the boat, also hilarious. But what can I say? It's Tom Brady, man.
It's just some avocado tequila.
Yeah.
All
right. Stabs himself with time, but I respect it. He's the best to do it,
All right, that's enough talking about Tom Brady or the Chiefs. Let's move on. Let's talk about the Avs. They got back to playing Sunday night against Vegas. lost 1-0. Looks like maybe they're coming out a little bit flat-footed. What do you guys think about how they're going to do this week? They have 3 more games against the Knights in the next coming week. How do you guys think they're going to do?
I'm kind of concerned watching this team. I really, I've been on the Avs win the cup bandwagon all year, but at the end of the day, they're really not passing the eye test. Last season there was a lot of games where they looked just unbeatable, hanging 8 points, 9 goals in a game against other teams. And the offense has just looked kind of pedestrian this year so far. Fleury's an excellent goalie. He's probably, one of the greatest to ever do it, but losing game 1-0, like you can't expect more out of your goalie than, to get 1 goal the whole game. You should be able to back that up, especially with the top line all healthy again. Unacceptable law, or it was just it just doesn't look good, and that's what's concerning. Like if you're gonna lose some to Vegas, it's gonna happen, but this team doesn't even look like they can compete with Vegas on the offensive side, and so that's really what needs to turn around.
Damn. Yeah, I don't know. How much do you have on the Avs to win the cup, Chase?
If the Avs win the Stanley Cup, I will be taking a very nice vacation. We'll put it that way.
Yeah, we're going to Vegas and doubling down on Avs to win next year again. It's already been decided.
Let it ride, baby. Let it ride.
But yeah, I don't know. Honestly, losing the game 1-0, it sucks, but it happens, They scored in the first, and we weren't able to compete and just score anytime other than that. So it sucks. We play again tonight. Let's see how we do tonight, and then from there we can decide how we're looking, what's going on. We did just come off a week break also, without any practice or anything, so kind of makes sense,
All right, this won't be uploaded until after the game, but you guys want to make yourselves look stupid? Make some predictions for the Avs game tonight?
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and tail a close advisor to the show, Ben King, and I like the over tonight a lot. The statistic was that they've hit the over after the Avs have scored less than 2 goals 7 out of 8 times. So I like the over tonight. I do think the Avs can win any game they play in, but at even money against Vegas, I hate to say it, but I think the better value is on Vegas tonight. If you were completely unbiased,
I think that you are doing a reverse jinx here, Chase. I think that the Avs are going to come out and score at least 4 goals tonight.
Stefan, you have a pick?
So funny enough, I'm also following our good friend Ben King. I got the over 5.5. I don't know. I can see the Avs putting up maybe 6 or 7 tonight if we play well.
Man, I think
if we convert on our power plays also, but I like it.
I thought I had a hot take, and then Stefan's like, "Oh yeah, we'll score 6 or 7 goals, no biggie." I see how it is, Stefan. I see it is. All right, Chase, would you mind walking us through? So this season in NHL, they're going through a weird division alignment. Just to keep down on the travel, I guess. Would you mind walking us through that a little bit?
Yeah. So my understanding is that these are kind of specialized divisions that will not be moving forward, at least in their current form. With Seattle coming in next year anyway, it was time to do a division realignment anyway, and so this kind of lends itself nicely. But the idea was to limit travel, so all the Canadian teams, especially just due to the visa issues that they were having, getting into the United States to play with COVID, so the Canadian teams can only play other Canadian teams, and then they've tried to regionalize. Unfortunately, what that means is that teams like the Avs are playing kind of a tough slate here and there, drawing Vegas. And you're seeing a lot of double games against teams. It's where, you're playing Vegas twice back to back before moving on. All of it's just because of COVID, but it can add to some issues with, part of me thinks the home team still has a pretty substantial advantage just because some of these teams, when they're on the road, are on the road for incredibly extended amounts of time, and the games are really compressed. So that's just kind of the thing to look out for. Unfortunately, you won't be seeing the Avalanche just absolutely annihilating the Jets this year, which you can always count on, just so you can talk trash to certain Winnipeg Jets fans that are out there. So yeah, that's kind of the deal with the divisions.
So the West Division for the NHL this season: Anaheim Ducks, the Mighty Ducks, the Arizona Coyotes, Colorado Avs, Los Angeles Kings, Minnesota Wild, San Jose Sharks, St. Louis Blues, who, to my understanding, they specifically requested to be in the West Division, and then Las Vegas, who we've already talked about enough. But yeah, I'm thinking that part of me wants to say that the Avs are going to come out this week and just demolish the Golden Knights. But if you guys are going to make me pick, they'll probably go 2-2, definitely pick up a game against Minnesota next week. So we got Vegas Tuesday, Vegas Saturday, Vegas Monday, and then Minnesota again next Wednesday. What are your picks for the Avs for the next week?
Given that we've already lost 1 out of the 4, I think we're going to end up taking 1 out of 3 against Vegas. And then I think we're going to handle Minnesota. I hope I'm wrong. I know I'm being kind of pessimistic, but just based off how we played, I don't know. The team's just not there right now. So.
Hot take. I think we go 2-2 against Vegas, honestly, and then I also think we pick up the game against the Wild. So we end like 3-1
on the week.
Yeah.
Love to.
Well, that's
love
including
to
like the last Vegas game that happened Sunday. But yeah.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Cool. So moving on to the Buffs. The Buffs had a decent week. They beat U of A. That was a big game. Just beat the brakes off of Oregon State. Handled Stanford, but then just kind of dropped the ball and lost to Cal. Reading some, bracketology stuff. I remember before the Cal game that the Buffs were like a strong 6th seed, but now I'm thinking that was a bad loss. Cal is not a good team. I'm thinking they're more of an 8th or 9th seed heading into the tournament, which is fine. A little part of me is just glad that the Buffs are going to be there, honestly. But what's your guys' outlook for the rest of the season with only 5 games left?
I'm actually kind of concerned. I think there's still a chance that Colorado misses the tournament. Especially when we have 3 now really bad losses, like just really, really bad losses. And, that really adds up. Pac-12 is looking at sending, potentially 5 teams, depending on how the tournament goes. And so it's pretty important that we get a good win on the way out here. We have at Oregon, and then at Oregon State. Oregon's going to be a tough game, especially away, but if the team wants to make the tournament, that's a must win. Oregon State should be a give me, but it seems like games like Cal should be as well. And then we have USC at home, which I think is just the make or break game as far as what our postseason expectations can look like. We need to win that game and win that. Get out of there with the win, no matter what it takes. USC is a very good team, especially defensively. And then we have UCLA as well, which I have a hard time seeing us beating UCLA just because of how much talent they have. But UCLA is also one of those teams that can drop a game to anyone. So we have a really tough stretch to close out the season. That Cal loss was supposed to be a kind of a freebie going into the rest of our road trip, and then we have 2 games at home, finishing at Utah. So yeah, I think you're probably in the right spot, an 8 or 9 seed. But I wouldn't say we're a lock to make the tournament even as of right now. Like you have to win those games.
Yeah, I agree. I think that either if we go 4-1 with that loss to USC, or if we go 3-2 and beat both Oregon and USC pretty handily, I think that then we would be a lock. But like you said, we got 4 tough games, and then we got a trap game right in the middle. And I think the Buffs got to take care of business coming down the stretch. All right, so I got a surprise topic for you guys. I know there's been a lot of talk about Deshaun Watson coming to the Broncos. Do you guys have any thoughts on that? What would kind of be your limit for that? And are you guys sold on Drew Lock? because I personally am not on Drew Lock. I think that, he is still a young quarterback, but I would have liked to see some sort of improvement this year. And I don't think he really took a step forward this year that much. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think the issue that the Broncos are looking at is that they're going to have to essentially trade the farm. Houston's been adamant that they're not trying to move Deshaun, and so I think what it's going to take is um, pretty much a king's ransom, like multiple first-round draft picks, and um, Drew Lock's definitely going to be moving in that trade. But at the end of the day, I just don't think it's worth it for the Broncos. I think Drew Lock has shown flashes. They have a lot of the talent there, but frankly, they're still in a rebuild. And a team that's rebuilding as much as the Broncos is, I don't know if you really want to be investing that much capital into a quarterback if you're not ready to go compete and win now. It's very different than when the Broncos landed Peyton Manning. The Broncos were pretty much there other than a quarterback. And so I personally, I just think it's a reach. But yeah, I'm curious what your thoughts are, Stefan.
I would agree. It's definitely going to be a stretch for them to get Deshaun, but I'd love it if we could actually finally have a good quarterback. However, the Texans are also in a rebuild state. They literally just let their best defensive end go for nothing. So I don't know. It's kind of up in the air,
Yeah, I feel that. I mean, but if anything, the Texans do kind of lend some credence to Chase's point. They had, God, not a mediocre team. They had a bad team surrounding Deshaun Watson. If we really do have to trade away, everything, we have to trade away 2 firsts, some other late picks, Drew Lock. If we re-sign Justin Simmons, maybe we'd have to trade him. We definitely have to trade probably one of our young wide receivers also. So we would be I don't know if we would improve that much. I mean, part of me just thinks that if you can get a player as good as Deshaun Watson, you should just roll the dice. But I mean, the concerns are valid. We would be kind of a husk of a team surrounding him, and I don't think we'd be able to maximize what he can do enough. And we'd really be, I mean, this could be like a Ricky Williams level trade. I don't think we've seen anything like this since, Mike Ditka traded his entire draft for a running back who was pretty average.
Yeah. There are other free agent quarterbacks out there as well, though. Take for instance Matt Stafford. Man has proven that he could be very good. However, he just hasn't had the weapons to do it. So there are other options.
Unfortunately, Matt Stafford got traded to the Rams, I'm pretty sure. So I think he settled in there.
Yeah, he's with the Rams, but there's a lot of quarterbacks out there on the market. Carson Wentz is going to get moved. I know that's not the answer that Denver fans want. But I think at the end of the day, I guess my point is I think Watson's definitely there. He would make the team better overnight, no question in my mind. The problem is I don't think he's enough to come into Denver and take it from what looked like a very slightly below average team and turn it into a competitor on his own. And Denver just doesn't have the capital otherwise, especially after they trade for him, I think, to build that roster around them. So
yeah, I mean, he may be able to drag us to the playoffs, but I don't think we would be, especially with 7 teams going to the playoffs now. But I don't think that we would be a contender by any stretch. The Chiefs would still be better than us, so we probably wouldn't even be the best team in our division. But I mean, I assume that we would leapfrog both the Chargers and the Raiders. But all right, yeah. I know that. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think if you're gonna make a trade like that, it can't just be enough to finish second in your division. You need to be making a trade like that to win a Super Bowl. And if you're gonna mortgage your future for the next 10 years or 5 years, whatever it is, you have to be in win now mode. And I just don't think they're there yet. So personally, I think they're gonna stunt themselves if they do that. But I would totally understand if they did it as well. So.
Right. Cool. I know that we got a hot gambling idea coming from Chase. Do you want to go ahead and share that with us, good sir?
Yeah, so just to recap, my last week pick, I picked Gonzaga to cover. That bet ended up being a push because of an absolute garbage time. Failure to cover. So I'm gonna mark that as almost a win, because absolutely disgusting loss for this coming week. I like 2 games for Wednesday the 17th, which would be tomorrow. I like USC to cover and Kansas to cover. USC is playing at home against Arizona State. Arizona State has been a letdown all season, and the line is 11.5 points. For Kansas, it's at Kansas State. It's a rivalry game. Kansas has definitely been disappointing this year. They're only ranked number 23, 9-5 in the Big 12, but they're playing against the Kansas State team that is just truly horrifically terrible. 5-17, 1-12 in the Big 12. Rivalry games always get teams fired up. I think Kansas is going to show up and try to prove something here. So what I like is Kansas is minus 13 in that game. I would buy points on both games. I'd take Kansas to -9 and USC to -8 probably. So buy 3 or 4 points on both games and then parlay the two for a payout that'll be about plus 170, plus 150. So that's my hot gambling pick of the week.
Love to hear it. Love to hear it. Anything coming for the degenerate gambling corner over there, Stefan?
Well, honestly, to be completely honest, I've been on the big L side recently. It's been pretty bad. However, my go-to effect right now is fade the Timberwolves. They just lost D. Russell for like around 4 to 6 weeks. So honestly, they only have Cat right now, and he's not going to do much for your team. So fade the Timberwolves.
You fading on the spread, or you just fading on the money line?
Depending on like who they're playing, I'll probably take the money line. But if they're playing like a pretty good team, I'd probably take the spread.
Right. Okay. Well, let me go ahead and check the Timberwolves schedule, because a tried and true method is to fade whatever pick Stefan is making. So I could see fading them against the Pacers, against the Raptors. Actually, never mind. I think you're right. They're just so bad. I mean, what are they? They are 7-20, man. They're really gunning for that top pick. And then I know that they owe the Warriors their first round pick this year. I think it's unprotected too. So, I mean, good for the Warriors, I guess. They could end up with the first pick in the draft to add to what they have going on there. But I go back and review some stock picks from this last week. I went ahead and got on the Stonks train earlier this week. I got in at 398, and it shot up all the way to 549. Are you on the Stonks train?
I'm absolutely on the Cynthionics train. That was my pick of the last week. I just want to point out that if you've been following our gambling picks, you're actually down. But if you've been following our investment advice on this predominantly sports-related show, you would be just absolutely up big. I'm still riding Cynthionics. My price target for getting out is going to be $15 a share. If they're able to announce their if they're able to announce their approval, which the rumor and kind of the whispering is that the FDA is slated to approve them sometime in the next quarter or so. That stock's going to pop like a rocket, and I really like it. So I'm standing by that pick. I hope all 12 people or whoever listened to this ended up following us on that pick. So yeah, I'm doubling down on it. I will be buying more shares. I also like some call options at a strike price of 750 that expire in June. Frankly, if the news doesn't come out, if they don't get the FDA approval, your stock's gonna be worthless anyway. So you might as well get the upside of the options.
Right. What's the price on those? What's the price on those guys? Do you know?
Premium on it's about $1.15, $1.30 last time I checked. So you're getting actually quite a bit of upside in my opinion if it can rocket as much after approval as I think it will. And I think, the downside's there even if you own the shares anyway. Originally, I said to buy the shares because the premiums weren't worth it on options. But that was when the stock was trading at $3. Now that we're up at $5, the value in the options has increased substantially. So if you're looking to enter a position now, if you didn't enter it last week, I would give a thought to the call options. But if you already have the shares, I would just hold them and just wait for news.
Right. Yeah, I'm in full hold mode on Sensonics. I'm just going to tail you on that one, and I'm just going to diamond hands it all the way. One that I got in on last week, it was looking good. It was Plug Power, but obviously power outages all across the country, not not doing me too good on that one. I'm down 13% on that guy. How is your Dogecoin doing, Stefan?
Honestly, I haven't checked it in a while. It's a little tough right now. I was just letting it ride, and I think it probably tanked, to be honest.
It's trading
let's
at
find
5
out.
cents. It's a
Oh,
garbage
so it's still
investment,
like
and
a little bit average.
I
It looks
encourage
like
everyone to sell.
it looks like it was up at like around like 10 cents earlier this last like week though. So it was getting up there for a bit.
You gotta sell the day after the Elon tweet. But all right, I just want to know if you guys have any closing thoughts here on our second episode of Sports, Stonks, and Gambling.
My last closing thought, best college basketball game that was played, Wisconsin. Wisconsin had an absolute heartbreaker, just kick to the balls game that they just recently lost. So I really like this game. They just lost to Michigan in a game that they frankly shouldn't have lost. So I think Wisconsin's going to come in with a lot of heart. And I'm calling it now. The upset's going to happen. Wisconsin Badgers over Iowa. I will not be betting it, but the value on the money line is definitely there as well.
Hasn't Iowa been kind of falling off recently?
Yeah, Iowa kind of picks. They're like Tennessee in my opinion. They pick and choose games that they want to show up to. And when they're hot, they're hot. But Wisconsin's a really good team. The Big Ten's absolutely loaded this year in basketball, but I think it's gonna be a really exciting game. It's on ESPN during prime time, so definitely worth watching. So that's
Nice.
my pick.
All right. Well, my closing thought is that the safest bet of the year is the bet on long hits for Jesus. I think that team is going to come out this year and just dominate. I think that they're going to bring home the beer league championship off the back of our top player, Bonk Lord. Bonk, have any words for us?
Hit bombs and fuck moms. That's all.
All right. Love that. I will catch you guys this weekend. See you, dudes.
Have a good one, my guy.